Hello everyone, welcome to my class today. Today we'll see the continuation of health assessment unit in nursing foundation subject. So that is health history. So before going to health history, so I have left the type of health assessment in my previous topic. So today I'll be dealing with the type of health assessment. So there are three types mainly: ongoing assessment. So ongoing means, as the name, it is ongoing. So you systematically monitor the client. So that is on admission you take some history, then again you will see whether the patient disease or whatever problem is solved, and again if the problem is not solved, then you make another assessment in order to identify more where the problem arises. Okay, so like that systematic. And also if the problem is solved, then if there is any other problem, okay, sometimes patient physical disease may be cured but some psychological problem would have aroused. Okay, so you have to assess, you have to ask questions, and thereby you can assess for any psychological problems. Okay, so like this you will be monitoring step by step in a systematic way as and when the patient is in the hospital. That is called as ongoing assessment, to identify any new problems or new illness the patient is suffering. Next is comprehensive assessment. In comprehensive assessment, it is on admission we do comprehensive. As the name comprehensive, it is a complete assessment. So there will be certain hospitals will have having assessment form. So based on the assessment form, you can ask questions from the patient and then collect the history and write in the patient's assessment form. Okay, so or with our nursing skills and talents, we also ask the patient so many questions. From this you can collect psychosocial aspects, any perceptions about the health, risk factors, or the client's ability to cope with the health and disease. So all those things we will be collecting comprehensive on the whole on admission. That is called as comprehensive assessment. Okay, and next is focused assessment. So this is done when the patient's length of stay in the hospital is for a minimal time. Okay, patient is not staying for he is not admitted for a long time, only for a minimal time. He is coming with some focal problem. Focal is in some particular disease or particular condition patient is coming, and we do a assessment of the particular area and see what is the wrong or what is the patient is suffering, and based on that we provide treatment. That is called focused assessment, like in outpatient surgery centers. So like patients come for any cataract surgery, we only look into the cataract aspect and what causes the blindness and etc., and thereby we provide treatment. Okay, or in any emergency department or patient coming for a delivery or labor. So these all includes the focal assessment. Okay, coming to the health history. So it is nothing but reviewing the patient's functional health pattern on all the possible conditions and the risk factors. Whenever he is admitted to a hospital, we collect certain history from the patient. That is called as health history. Okay, and in medical history there will be the doctors will monitor the symptoms, how the disease is progressing, and what treatment to be given, whereas nursing health history will focus on the functional pattern, any response in changes in health status. That is when patient we give medicines and see whether the medicines have given some treatment or response, what response in the health status, and if the patient has to go with some lifestyle alterations, that is maybe he need oxygen or a nebulizer therapy at home, or maybe he need a insulin therapy. So whatever lifestyle changes we have to explain to the condition, explain to the patient based on the condition. That is called as health history. So in nursing health history we have two important aspects. One is important health history or in health information, and next is the functional health pattern. So the important health history will deal with the demographic information, admission history, past medical or surgical history, present history and medications, the developmental history, family health history, immunization, and any communicable disease history, personal history, and allergic history. Coming to the demographic information, so here we collect the basic information like name, address, country from where the person has come, the gender, religion, date of birth, and if the patient is having any type of insurance plan. Okay, for example, if patient is admitting in a corporate hospital, he might have an insurance. So all those things we have to collect from the patient. So from the origin and occupation, we will know why the patient has come, why the problem has occurred for that patient. Okay, so we get some details or data about the patient condition when we collect the demographic information. And next is the admission history. So this is on the day of admission, what made the patient to come to the hospital. Okay, maybe some problem would have arisen, maybe a sudden pain or some infection, a fever, or a fall from bed or fall from some place, or any violent or anything accident, so any injuries or whatever made the person to come to the hospital. And prior to come to the hospital, what was the condition or some precipitating factors, what was the condition that had caused the pain, or what factors that caused the injury, etc. So like that we have to collect on admission, or on the whole why patient was brought to the hospital, and analyze the symptoms of the patient. That is called as admission history. And next is the past medical or surgical history. So here you have to ask about all the before admission to the hospital, if the patient had hospitalized some other place, or if in childhood he had suffered from some particular disease. So all the prior history about the disease you have to collect, like any illness, injury, previous hospitalization, previous surgery, previous therapy, and before admission has he traveled to some place, okay, where there is some infection, or some infection would have traveled, or he would have migrated from one place to another with the particular infection. So all those things you have to ask, and also ask for any supportive devices. Okay, like some patients will have a wheelchair, or some patient may be on a bedridden. So anything about the previous condition you have to ask for from the patient. And according to the patient's history, and according to the patient's condition, any specific aspects if you want to collect from the patient, you can collect regarding the past medical or surgical history. And next comes the present history and correct medication. Okay, so this is almost same like admission history. You have to collect the patient, why he has come to the hospital, and if you have seen the patient after a long day of admission in the hospital, in the middle if you have seen, then you have to collect the previous what all treatment had done, previous any during the stay in the hospital any surgery has done. Okay, so that is after patient admission in the hospital. From the time you are going to assess the patient, whatever course of treatment occurred in the hospital, you will collect those information. And also if the patient is taking any medication. Okay, sometimes patient would have come with allergy, so he would have taken some medicine that is called over the counter. Okay, without the prescription of the doctor, he would have taken some medicines. Okay, so these all informations you have to collect. So any medications patient is taking, all those things you will be collecting in the present history and current medication. And next is developmental history. So mostly for children you have to ask for the developmental history, because we know about the milestones. Okay, so in pediatric there is a milestone. So according to the milestones are nothing but, so every age there must be some development for the baby. Okay, like head should baby should lift up the head, and baby should go into prone position, baby should start crawling. So like this there are some ages or the months at which the baby has to have this milestone development. So we have to also ask for the milestone, that is developmental history, whether the growth and development was normal for the client if the person is a child. Okay, and next is we will collect for the family history. So here all the, because so many diseases are inherited from the parents, that is they are familial, and mostly if there is any blood relatives, then the disease can transfer from one person to another. Okay, so from mother to father or sister or like this. So any 3 generations the disease can travel. So you have to ask about anyone with a chronic illness or with any genetic diseases they are suffering in the family. Okay, and when we get the family history, then we know that is the cause of illness is due to transferring from parents to children. Okay, next is the family tree. So here's the diagram showing a family tree. So if it is a square, then it is a healthy male. If it is a circle, it is a healthy female. And if it is in a diamond shape, it is sex unspecified. and according to the number of children they can put inside 1 2 3 like oval shape and the square shape. And if it is an affected individual, okay, so if it is a male affected, then it will be in a square colored form, and if it is female affected, it is in a circle colored form. And proband is the origin from where the disease has come. Okay, if a person is having a genetic disorder, then you have to show it in a colored form and putting an arrow mark showing the proband. Okay, that means this is the first person who is suffering with a disease in that house. Okay, so that is proband. And if it is when we put a circle and put a dot in between, then it is a female carrier, and if it is a square with a dot in between, it is a male carrier. Okay, carrier is means someone who is carrying the disease but is not showing any signs and symptoms, but he is capable of spreading the disease to other person. Okay, and if there is a square with a cut in between, okay, that means it is a male disease. Disease means the person is already dead. And if it is a circle with a cut, then it is a female disease, that means female who has already dead. Okay, and next you can see the male and female with a single line, that means he is a marriage, that is a couple who is married. Okay, and if it is the line is cut in between, that means it is divorced. And if there is any two lines in between the male and female, then it is called consanguinity marriage, that means marriage in between the close relatives. And if the person had given a twins, then we have to put it in a like a V shaped arrow. Okay, so like this, like A shape means it is monozygotic twins, and monozygotic twins means these babies are formed from the same zygote, and both their sex will be same. Okay, like female means both babies will be female, that means monozygotic twins. And in dizygotic twins, that means they are formed from two zygote. Okay, so two eggs, they are formed from the two eggs, that is two zygote. So when they are formed from two zygotes, there won't be middle line. Okay, that is A shaped line will not be present. And dizygotic twins can be of same sex or they can be of a different sex. Okay, and if the person is pregnant, then we put a P in between. And if it is a miscarriage, then we put a triangle with a dash. And if it is a stillborn, then a diamond with a cut in between. Okay, so this is the symbols for the family tree. So, and I have given an example how to draw the family tree. Okay, so like this you have to collect the family history and draw the diagram. And next we have to ask about the immunization history. Okay, so that means if the person has got any childhood communicable diseases. So communicable diseases means all the chickenpox, polio, cholera. So these are diseases which can communicate from one person to another. Okay, and if these diseases are there, communicable diseases are there in the family, or if the person is had all the immunizations properly. Okay, so you have to see if the person had a immunization chart. So mostly for children we collect the immunization history, and for adults also we have to collect if the person is immunized for tetanus, flu vaccine and hepatitis B. Okay, and if the person has come from a country, he's traveled from one country to another country, then he has to ask the time for how long he's been traveled, and we can identify, because each communicable disease have a incubation period. Incubation period means the microorganism will be inside our body and they start multiplying, but they don't produce signs and symptoms. Okay, only after they multiply in a huge amount, then they will show the signs and symptoms. Okay, so each communicable microorganism has some incubation period, so we can identify whether patient is on incubation period or if the patient is prone for getting some communicable diseases. Okay, and also you have to ask history about all the tuberculosis, HIV, if the person is infected with any of these viruses or bacteria. Okay, and next we must also collect about the allergies history. So any drug or food allergies, anything you have to collect from the person, and you have to ask if the allergies had occurred, what was the signs and symptoms of allergy, like any rash or any shortness of breath or any reaction to the drug had happened. Okay, and then you have to see what was the allergen, and that allergen has to be documented in a red color on the case sheet, so that anybody who is coming and seeing the patient's case file should know that this person is having allergy and they should not prescribe such food or drug. Okay, and finally we will collect the personal history. So here you may have to ask about the patient environment, home environment where he is living, because so many diseases can spread through the unhealthy environment. So you have to ask the home environment, family situation, and the client role in the family. Okay, so sometimes patient will have a parent of 3 children, or maybe a single parent, so we may be stressed if there is a single parent, or because of so many children there may be tensions, or maybe there may be poverty, or the person is not able to adequately is not earning adequately to feed the family. So all those personal history you have to collect in order to identify the health status, and also from where the problem arises. Okay, and also here you have to collect if the patient is having some crisis, who will be supporting. Okay, any family or religion or any support groups are available. And also in personal history you will collect about the habits of the person, like if he's an alcoholic, smoker, gambler, or a drug abuser, or a sexual abuse. So many abuses are there, so you have to ask about all this history in order to identify if the patient is at risk of some health diseases. And next we also have to about hobbies, like how he spends the leisure activities, so that we can identify, like some will have a habit of going for racing, or some habits like that can cause injury to the person. Okay, so all those hobbies, all these will be collected in the personal history. Okay, so these all comes the important health information. And the second aspect is the functional health pattern. Okay, so functional health pattern is assessed to identify how the patient's body is functioning, whether there is positive functions, or if the patient is having some dysfunction in the body. Okay, so based on the dysfunction, it helps the nurses to formulate nursing diagnosis, and based on the nursing diagnosis we can formulate the plan of care and implement and evaluate the patient's health. Okay, so if there is a good functional health pattern, that is, even if the disease, if the person is able to have a positive aspect regarding to the health, then he will go to the high level of wellness. That means he will be able to maintain the health. Next, coming to the components of functional health pattern. Okay, so there are mainly 11 components. So first is health perception and health management pattern, nutrition metabolic pattern, elimination pattern, activity exercise pattern, sleep and rest pattern, cognitive and perceptual pattern, self perception and self concept pattern, role relationship pattern, sexuality and reproductive pattern, coping and stress tolerance pattern, values and beliefs pattern. Okay, so these are the 11 functional patterns. So we will deal one by one. Okay, first is the health perception and the health management pattern. Okay, so in this pattern we have to identify the perceived health level of health and well-being, and the practices the person maintain to improve, that is he practice in order to maintain or improve the health related aspects, like regular screening and following a healthy lifestyle. Okay, that means if a person is already having a family history of a particular disease, okay, maybe a communicable disease, or maybe a maybe any cancer or any diabetes, so any of these diseases if there is running in a family, then the children have to take steps in order to prevent the family in their generation. Okay, so that means they have to go for early screening, and also changing the lifestyle according that is, they have to follow the healthy lifestyle habits. Okay, so like so these all will identify if the person is having a knowledge about the health, and what that is how he is managing the health. Okay, like he has to see what all the risk factors that are running in the family, like smoking, alcohol, sexual drug abuse, or any exposure to environmental hazards. So these are the risk factors he has to identify and avoid those risk factor. Okay, that is called health management. So all those thing you have to ask the person whether he is taking proper screening, and if there is any onset of disease, then whether he is going for treatment, and if he is having a good knowledge about the problem, and whether he is able to whether he is knowing what all the resources are there to manage the problem. Okay, so resources means the healthcare agencies and other clinics where he can get the treatment. Okay, so all this knowledge the person to is having means he is having good health perception and health management. Okay, so to identify this we ask certain questions. So first is reason for visiting the hospital and the general state of health. Okay, so how is the person's health and what all the diseases is having, any illness, injury, everything will be asking, and practices followed to be healthy. Okay, like avoiding smoking, going for exercise, eating a balanced diet. So these are all some practices so that we have to ask for the patient, and problems related to health compliance. Okay, for example, if a person is having diabetic, okay, so we tell them you have to cut down with the sugars and carbohydrates. Okay, so if the person wanted to do, that is wanted to cut down the sugars, okay, but at home maybe he is exposed to so many sweets and other things, so he is not able to control himself. Okay, so that is he is not able to comply. Okay, so if he is not complying, what is the factors, that is what is the problem that is not allowing to comply with the treatment. Okay, so like that you have to ask the problems related to health compliance and any cause of illness, what management was done, and because of that management if there is was good results or not. Okay, so like that you have to collect. And next we have to collect the family health history. So like if anyone in the family has the same problem, so that we can identify the risk is for the children. And risk of illness like smoking, alcoholism, drugs, all those history you have to collect. And allergies, if the patient is having knowledge about the allergies, and if there is any, that has to be documented, and immunization whether it is followed properly. Okay, so these all the histories you have to collect. And next is nutrition and metabolic pattern. So here you have to collect the pattern of ingestion, digestion, absorption and metabolism. Okay, so this is how the food is processing in our body. So you have to ask the person to have a 24-hour food diary. Okay, that means in a day what all the food he is taking, and if the food, okay, so like if the patient is taking more of cholesterol diet, then we know that he is more prone for getting for heart attack or stroke. Okay, so like that we can correlate and see whether the dietary habit is having any impact on the health. Okay, and next is impact of psychological factors on health. Okay, if there is any, so some persons will be of more depression. Okay, so when there is more depression, sometimes they don't feel like eating, so because of that they may go for malnourished. Okay, or something anxiety or anything like exam fear, anything, sometimes we may skip meals, and because of that also person can go for malnourished. So you have to ask for any psychological factors that is impacting the health, and see the meal preparation factors like meal preparation budget and what food preference. Okay, some will be vegetarian, some non-vegetarian, so all those factors you have to assess. And in metabolism you will check for the weight gain or the weight loss, energy level, and skin lesions and dryness. Okay, if the person is taking adequate fluids, then the skin will be healthy, otherwise it can go for lesion and dryness. So this all you will be identifying in metabolic pattern. And any symptoms like nausea, vomiting, intestinal gas or pain, this can interfere with the appetite. Okay, when patient is having this thing, he may not feel like eating. And any food allergies and intolerance. Okay, allergy, you know, patient may be allergic to seafoods, or some will be allergic to brinjal, iodine, salt. So like this there are so many allergies, so you have to collect for the history. And intolerance, mainly there is lactose intolerance. Okay, some person will not drink milk because of lactose intolerance. Okay, some will have intolerance to the wheat. Okay, so they take gluten free diet. So like this gluten intolerance, so all those intolerance we have to assess. Okay, in that you have to ask the question like what food the person is taking, amount of food, and how many liters of fluid he drinks every day, and any nutritional supplement. Okay, so nutritional supplements can be like a Horlicks or Boost or anything, or it can be like herbal supplements, or where the person may take some medicines or any vitamin supplements. So all those supplement history you have to collect. And weight loss or weight gain in the previous period. Okay, recently if you had lost the weight, because some diseases like diabetes mellitus, this can cause weight loss, so you have to ask for any previous weight loss or weight gain, and any appetite changes. Okay, sometimes patient may have problems like anorexia, that means he will be eating very less or lack of appetite, or some person may have binge eating. Okay, so that means eating bulimia, okay, where there may be more eating. Okay, so all those conditions you have to ask. And food preferences, so as I already said, vegetarian or non-vegetarian food. And food allergies you have to ask, and skin problems like lesions, dryness, healing factors, etc. And also if the person is having dental problems. Okay, because if patient is taking so much of carbohydrate diet, then the glucose is a good medium for growth of bacteria, which can result in dental caries. Okay, so these all history will be collecting in nutritional metabolic pattern. Next is the elimination pattern. So here you will be assessing for the bowel, bladder and skin elimination pattern. So see the consistency, amount, color, and if there is any unusual smell of urine and stools, and bladder and bowel control function. Okay, some old age people, debilitated person, they may not have control, they may pass motion and urine in the bed itself. Okay, so all the whether they are able to control, that you have to ask. And ask any drugs or anemia they are giving to aid in elimination. Okay, so drugs means some person will take these laxatives if they have any constipation or anemia, so that there can be easy elimination. So those histories you will be collecting. And if the person is having some collecting devices, okay, some patient, hospitalized patient may have catheters, or also if a patient is having some GI diseases, that is gastrointestinal disease, he may have a colostomy to collect the feces. Okay, so these history about any collecting devices are there, you have to ask. And skin must be assessed for the proper excretory function, like if patient is having edema, dryness, pruritus, perspiration. Perspiration is excessive sweating. Okay, so these are the elimination pattern you have to assess. So questions for asking is, you have to see the frequency, ask how long, like in case of diarrhea you have to ask how many times he has passed stools, whether it was watery stools, and we have to see whether the color, if there is some bleeding in the urine or stools, or any unusual order means smell is there. Okay, so this all you have to ask the patient and collect the history. And you have to ask if patient is suffering from constipation, whether he is taking any drugs like laxatives or enema to cause elimination. And in case of bladder elimination, whether he is taking diuretics. Okay, if he is taking the drugs, so what is the dose, frequency, and how many times he is taking, and what is the route, all this should be asked. And if you have to ask for any perspiration, itching or odor problems. Okay, so in skin, if the patient is having excessive sweating or itching or odor problems, so these history also you will be collecting in the elimination pattern. Okay, and next is exercise pattern, activity exercise pattern. So here you have to see whether patient is taking regular exercise and leisure and recreational activities. Okay, some patient have the habit of going for sports or gym, so any of these activities you have to ask. And also if the patient could do the activities of daily living. Okay, activities of daily living is what activity do we do every day, like going for toileting, birthing, eating, moving independently. Okay, so all these daily living habits he has to do independently, or if the person is having any specific problems. Okay, specific problems means problems with mobility, like in stroke or paralysis or any fracture, the patient will have problem in moving, so he may not able to do the activities of daily living, that you have to assess in the activity exercise pattern. Okay, so like that, when you ask question, you will ask if the patient is having sufficient energy to do activities without assistance. And exercise pattern, if he is following the exercise pattern, how you, like whether he is doing a walking or swimming or jogging, and is he following the exercise regularly. Okay, so all those you have to collect. And if he is having any spare time for leisure activities. Okay, some may be hard workers will be doing job continuously, some they will be free. Okay, like old age people, so you have to ask them in the free time what they do, whether they follow any leisure activity. Okay, and any problems like dyspnea, chest pain, palpitation, muscle stiffness, aching, weakness. Okay, so any of these condition, the person may not follow the activity. So you have to ask them whether these conditions are hindering is nothing but preventing to do the activity. Okay, and also ask the person whether he can perform activities of daily living like cooking, feeding is eating by himself, grooming is nothing but dressing and making himself neat, mobility is going here and there, and bathing, dressing, toileting, shopping. So all these if the patient can do independently or not, that you have to identify. Next is the sleep and rest pattern. So here you will ask the patient how many hours he is sleeping. Okay, so that is the pattern of sleep, rest, relaxation, and whether patient gives importance to the sleep. Okay, and usual activities he follow during bedtime, and what is the usual sleeping pattern, everything will be asking. So in that how many hours he sleeps per day, because normally an adult needs 6 to 8 hours of sleep per day. So you have to ask how many hours he is sleeping, and whether he is having a habit of taking naps in the noon time. Okay, some people they may sleep for 2 hours in the afternoon, so that you have to ask. And sleep onset problem. Okay, some have problems in starting with the sleep. Okay, they may take some medication, so you have to ask if the patient is having problem with starting the sleep, or if the patient is having some problems like bedwetting. Bedwetting is passing urine in the sleep. Mostly children have this problem of bedwetting, and some psychologically affected person can have somnambulism. Somnambulism is walking. Okay, sometimes person in the sleep he may start walking outside, so that is somnambulism. And nightmares is dreadful dreams. Okay, if the patient is having any dreams, or early awakening. Okay, so in the early morning he may not get sleep. So all those sleep disturbances you have to ask the patient, and ask for any sleep time rituals, pattern, and sleeping position. Rituals with certain person will have the habit of doing puja or prayer before sleeping. Okay, so if that is a habit, you have to ask them and allow them to do their rituals, otherwise they may not get the sleep. Okay, so you have to see the rituals and pattern. Okay, pattern is sometimes like patient may say I want to pass urine and sleep, or he may want to drink a milk before a sleep. So whatever the pattern he is following at home, so same pattern we have to collect, so that we can provide him milk before the sleep. Okay, and also sleeping position. Okay, some may sleep in side lying, some can sleep in supine, some can sleep in prone. So according to the type of patient's need, you can also provide the position if indicated by the physician. So you have to allow the patient to do the sleep time ritual. So for that you have to ask this question. And last you have to ask for any medication if the patient is taking to induce sleep. Okay, some may be having the habit of addiction, that is where they sleep only with the pills. So like this, any habit is there, you have to ask. Okay, and next is the cognitive perceptual pattern. Okay, so this is the nothing but perception is all with all the five senses what we do, that is called as perception. Okay, like seeing, touching, and the vision, hearing. Okay, so these are all the perception. And cognitive is the knowledge or this. Okay, so the memory, the thinking power. Okay, all those comes under the cognitive cognitive. So you have to assess for this perception and cognitive function. So if the patient having altered senses, and any examination or care taken. Okay, like if patient is having some problem with the vision, we have to ask if the patient had gone for any eye checkup, or if the patient had any treatment done in the earlier. Okay, so all those histories you will be collecting. And and also in cognition you have to ask the patient's ability to communicate about their disease and what is level of understanding. Okay, sometimes patient will have poor understanding, so that he may not able to communicate. So you have to ask the patient about his ability to communicate, etc. Okay, so in this you have to see in hearing acuity, you have to see whether patient is able to hear or he is having hard of hearing. And if the patient is using some hearing aids or cochlear implants, so many hearing devices are there, so whether patient is using these things. Okay, and in visual acuity you will ask for the patient is using any visual glasses or any surgeries done in the eye, like glasses, lens, etc. Okay, And any change in taste, touch or smell sensation in the recent years you will be asking, and change in memory. Okay, so for this you can ask patient what did he eat in the morning or afternoon, something you can ask to identify if the patient is having good memory or ability to learn things. Okay, something you can teach the person and think and tell the patient to tell it again, then we will know whether patient is able to learn. Okay, so that we can teach the health education for the patient. And ability to perceive pain. Okay, so if the patient senses are normal, then he can perceive the pain, and if the pain is there, what management he is doing, all those things you have to ask. Okay, sometimes in at home if we have a headaches, they put some resins. Okay, that is the jandu balm or some balm they use in order to treat the pain. So you have to ask the person what treatment is doing in order to treat the pain. And disability to communicate. Sometimes patient may have problems with speaking, in case of stroke or any cancers in the larynx where the voice box is removed. So in all this condition you will be asking the patient's ability to communicate, and also see the patient's understanding about the illness, whether, and also whether he is able to understand about the treatment. Okay, and next is self perception and self concept. So this is what perception the person perceive about himself. Okay, the personality, his body image and his sense of worth. Okay, so a person may, after getting disease, he may think I am not of use to the society or community, like that. So he may have so many problems in the mind. So you have to ask the patient about if there is any problems in self perception. Okay, so that you have to ask. And in self concept you have to ask about the client's attitude, his expression of hopelessness. Okay, sometimes he may say that's all, I would have died now. Okay, some hopelessness feeling will be there, or any loss of control. Okay, so sometimes he may not able to look after himself or inability to care. All those things will be a burden or a problem for him. So you have to ask for these things. And in this you will be asking the patient to self description and self perception. Okay, so you have to tell the person to describe about himself. So you may say that I was like this, I was like this, but after disease I could not do anything. So like that he may describe the problem to you. So you have to ask about the self description and perception. And effect of illness on self image. Okay, so any sometimes patient who is taking chemotherapy or any drugs, they can cause his body image to be disturbed. So you have to ask if there is any problems with the image, say body image due to illness. Okay, and any contributing or relieving factors. Okay, if some factors that are contributing to his negative self concept, and if the negative self concept is coming, what factors he is following in order to relieve those concept, that is called. So that all you have to collect in the self concept, self perception and self concept pattern. And next is role relationship pattern. So role relationship is patient at home, he has major roles and responsibilities. So you have to evaluate the person's role, whether he is following the roles properly or if there is any change in the roles. Okay, so like relation, how is maintaining relationship with family, social and work environment. So all, if the disease had caused any change in the role and relationship, that you have to assess. So here you have to see whether patient is living alone or he is with family or anyone to support him, or if there is any family problems for the patient, so that he is not able to solve it, or any family and other feelings. So sometimes patient having the disease and is in a home, the family may think is a burden to the family. So he may have a bad relationship with the other person. So you have to ask whether any negative feelings are there in the family, and need for any change in roles. Okay, so for example, if the person is a breadwinner of the family and is for chronic illness, he may not continue the job. So he may, so that is someone in the family to look after the role. Okay, they have to change the breadwinner role. So that you have to see whether there is any need, and according to that you have to plan the care. And problems with handling children. Okay, sometimes if the mother is sick and the children are very small at home, then there will be problems in handling children. So you have to see that if there is adequate support for the children, or any children care centers are there, so you can get help from the persons. Okay, and any social groups or agencies to support the income needs. So if patient is chronically ill and is having a long term treatment and the hospital's bills are very heavy for him, then you can ask the patient for some other person, some other agencies who can support his income. And feeling of isolation in the area where he is living. Okay, sometimes patient will maybe alone at home, and also there is no one in the neighborhood to talk with the patient, so sometimes he may be isolated. So all these questions you have to ask, so that we will know whether patient is maintaining a good relationship. Next is sexuality, reproductive pattern. So here we have to see whether the patient's sexual life was good, that is he was satisfied or having any dissatisfaction, or any illness or surgical procedures on the sexual that is reproductive organs that may cause sexual dysfunction, that you have to ask. And you also ask the client about any reproduction. Okay, so that is any infertility like that problems were there, or he was able to reproduce and produce children. So all those things you have to ask. And also any concerns regarding sexuality and reproductive pattern, you can teach the person about the treatment. Okay, and here you will be asking questions about the illness that caused the problems with change in sexual relation, and if the patient is using any contraceptives, and if the contraceptive is causing any problem in sexual relations. And menstrual history you have to ask. In case of females, menarche is the first menstruation, at which year it started, and menopause is the last menstruation. Okay, so this you have to collect. And if the person is in the menstruating reproductive phase, then you have to ask for the last menstrual period, like in case if the person is pregnant, or if we had any menstrual irregularities. Okay, so sometimes persons will not maintain the normal cycle of 28 days, so those irregularities we have to ask when we are talking about the sexuality and reproductive pattern. And in reproductive history, you have to ask if the patient is having any abortion. Gravida means conception. Okay, that means if the person is pregnant. Para is delivery, so how many children he has delivered, sorry, she has delivered. And gender of the children. Okay, so if the how many children, according to the children, the whether it is a male or female baby the mother has delivered. So all this history you have to collect. Or any present illness that is and treatment that is causing problem with sexuality, that you have to ask. And if the patient is having any sexually transmitted diseases, this all you will be asking. Okay, and next is coping and stress tolerance pattern. So here you have to see the whenever a patient is going for stress, so how he is able to cope with the stressful situation. And also you have to see if there is any recent years, if there is some loss. Okay, sometimes death of the loved ones may cause loss in the person, and he may be stressful, or sometimes a failure in the exam. So anything may be a stressful situation, so you have to ask if there is any recent year loss and any current stressors or problems, and if there is any stressor or problem, what he is doing in order to remove the stressors. Okay, so this all you will be asking. And also record the that is who are the support support person available, like family or any religious people who are available to support the patient in stressful situation. All those history you have to collect. So what cause of tension, any medication, drugs or alcohol is taking to relieve stress. Okay, some will depend on drugs, some will depend on alcohol to forget the stress. So you have to ask that. And you have also ask if the patient is having someone to support now, like when stressful situation is there, someone should be there with the patient. Okay, so you have to ask about that. Or if any loss or grief recently had occurred, that you have to ask. And what all the problem solving technique is following in order to cope with the stress, that you will be asking. And finally you will be asking the values and beliefs pattern. So these are also important. So you have to see the values, goals and the spiritual belief that is guiding the person for health behaviors. So here you have to see the client's culture and ethnic background. So that means according to the culture, according to the area of origin, there will be effect on the health and illness. And honor is nothing but respect the patient's religious practices and allow him to use the religious materials and also follow religious practices at the hospital. And if the plan of care is conflicting to the client's values or belief, then you have to talk with the patient. And if the patient feels that it is a conflict, the care we are giving is conflict to the person, then allow him to follow his religious practice. Okay, because every individual will believe on God, that there is some treatment in God. Okay, so when we are asking questions, you have to ask whether the person is satisfied with the life and what religion is following, and is religion is more important in life, and what is the conflict is having, that is causing the treatment. Okay, so what treatment we are giving that gives conflict to his religious belief. Okay, so this all history will be collecting. So this is about the health history, today's topic. So I hope you would have understood my class. Please like, share, subscribe, and also click the notification button for regular update of my videos. Thank you.